All right, so look, here's the deal. ChatGPT is basically the default that everybody kind of goes to when they're starting out with their AI journey because it's a really good model and has a bunch of like additional tools. And in particular, it has GPTs. GPTs are the thing where you can kind of create your own AI that does one particular niche thing. So you can tell it, you are going to be my email writer and this is my style, these are the types of emails that I write, you always write this type of email, and so you can go back and use it over and over again. And this is a super powerful tool, I really like it, and it's the thing that I actually miss the most about ChatGPT because I've not really been using it that much. Because honestly, there's two things that are going on with ChatGPT. The first one is that I think that it sometimes is getting overused, and so I find that I get like weird times when it's like not working. It's just not working. It's like I'm getting errors. I have to regenerate a whole bunch of times, and sometimes it's like kind of mysterious. Like sometimes it actually gives me an error, and sometimes it just like freezes and stops working. So that's a little bit annoying. I'm sure there's going to be something that they fix like super quick because if they're aware of it, they are very quickly working on it. And the other one is a little bit more intangible, and the intangible thing is that it's like gotten more vanilla, if that makes sense, in the past, I don't know, past few months. I think with 4.0, like 4.0 is really fast and it's really good and it does really good stuff, but the output that it makes, I find it's like really kind of flat. So the content itself is kind of flat, which is, I mean, it's still fine, but I find that it's really not, it doesn't have any pep to it. Old ChatGPT, it wasn't very good. It wasn't, ChatGPT before 3.5, it wasn't very good, but it would generate some pretty wild content. You could get it to give you really, really kind of strange outputs. And now it's like one of those people that has like almost no personality that you have to work with, that is like in some of those like weird departments where you don't even really know what they do and their main job is to like review documents or something like that. And whenever you talk to them at the like company cocktail party and you're stuck with them, you just cannot get them to stop talking about like document revision or like how they rename the files using a more logical order. And you're like, dude, really? That's for me, ChatGPT is kind of becoming a little bit like that. And it's not quite as sparkly for me to use. So for that reason, I've been playing around with these different options. The first one, and the one that I'm using the most, honestly, is Claude by Anthropic. And it's really cool because I think that, I mean, there's benchmarks. There are benchmarks that show you that it's actually better than ChatGPT, whatever the heck that means. But in my way, kind of like subjective experience of it, I think that it actually is kind of better. It's giving me sort of like more, it's got a little bit more personality in the response. And it's actually got 3 different models that you can use, just like, OpenAI is basically, ChatGPT is basically the same thing. You have different models that you can select. Some are faster, some are slower. But the model, the really advanced model, Opus, is crazy, crazy, crazy good. And it can do stuff like, it can do really fast document revision. It can do really, really good analysis of documents. It can really quickly make very, very good sort of tables, and even sort of like, I don't use a lot of programming language, but I was able to create a really good flow chart with it the other day that was changeable. I think for me right now, the response that it's giving me is actually more valuable. The other thing that it has recently, they recently introduced this thing called projects, which is kind of like GPTs in that you set up one particular sort of AI thing that you're going to use, and you can use it over and over and over again. And in a lot of ways, it's actually a little bit more, at least for my use case, powerful than ChatGPT, because you can easily see the way that it stacks all of the chats that you've had in that same particular project is really, really, really good. And it also is easier to update and change a little bit. And I think that it follows its instructions a little bit better, because one thing that ChatGPT does, which is kind of all AIs do this a little bit, all LLMs do this a little bit. They sometimes follow your instructions, and sometimes they're like, no, I'm not going to do that, which is a very strange thing for them to do. Oh, sorry if you can hear that noise. They're doing drilling right when I'm trying to record. The other one that I'm using a lot is Perplexity, and I think that a lot of people have actually played with Perplexity because it's gotten a lot of sort of press and whatever, and people are a little bit annoyed about it because they think it's essentially like a plagiarism machine. I had to remember that word, and that might, yeah. I mean, I think that part it's not a lie. I mean, that's real. Like, it's basically able to create an article for you based on a whole bunch of sources without you ever going to those sources. But the actual functionality of it is incredibly good because what it does is it does really quick research and it organizes that research and then it gives you the sources. So if you yourself are acting ethically and you go through those different sources and you verify everything that Perplexity has told you and you actually cite those resources, those sources rather than the Perplexity, then I don't know. You can make an argument for it being a little bit less unethical, but the quality comes out in spades because you are then able to very quickly put together a research sort of function or project. And the ability to use the Pro feature, it's got this Pro feature where it basically kind of like improves your search and it helps you improve your search, has actually been really powerful for me. So I think that Perplexity when I'm doing research is like amazing, amazing, amazing. The final one that I've been using quite a bit is Poe, which is created by Quora, and it doesn't get very much attention, and I think it doesn't get attention because it's really not an AI by itself. What it is, it's like an interface where you can use different models. So what you can do is you have like a chatbot and you go in and you can say, I want to use ChatGPT 4.0, here's the prompt, and it'll run the prompt. Or you can say, I want to use the Anthropic Claude Opus, or I want to use Mistral, or what. There's got a whole bunch of different LLMs, and it's got a free version and a paid version, like almost all of these big projects. And the thing that's really cool about that is you can very quickly get a sense for which of the, like how each LLM is working, and you can also create inside of it, I think it's called, they call it bots or agents, something like that. You can kind of create something similar to a GPT. I haven't used it quite as much as Claude, if I'm being perfectly honest, but I think that it has a lot more potential, especially if they like keep working on the project, because it's gonna allow you to pay a subscription to Poe and have access to all these different models, so you don't have to be jumping between them. So if they really nail the implementation of their sort of like project-like or GPT-like functionality where you can create your own little AI tool that you can come back to and use later, it's gonna be super mega popular. And then in the end, there's a couple of obvious choices that I'm kind of missing out here. Gemini and Microsoft Copilots, and they both kind of have the same value proposition. Gemini says that they're essentially going to allow you to do more work because you can integrate directly with workspaces. So workspaces is like Google Drive, so Google Sheets, Google Docs, Google Slides, I think is their PowerPoint. And the idea there is really good, but I haven't been able to, at this point, I haven't been able to get it to do much more than just like generate content inside of a slide or inside of a document. It would be really powerful there if I was able to just like have a little interface where I said, okay, check my email, pull out all the things that I need to do, now create a document that is based on this request from my boss, whatever. I haven't quite been able to do that, and the same is true with Microsoft Copilot, which is basically ChatGPT in like a different wrapper, and the idea is that it's supposed to be able to do all this stuff inside of the Microsoft Office Online, and I'm just not, I get a lot more errors than with anything else, and I also just have not been able to see the real benefit over doing my work in ChatGPT or in Claude and then copying and pasting it in. I mean, I can see where it would save you some time, but it just has not been the case for me that it's helped me out. So in the end, I think that what you should do is maybe think a little bit about your strategy. Potentially don't just default to getting ChatGPT Pro, because one of the great things is that with ChatGPT free, you get a lot of functionality. So maybe what you do is you turn off your Pro account and try one of the other ones, like try Claude or try Poe, because those three have basically the same price. It's around $20, like more or less. And the great thing is that you can try with Poe a lot of different models, and with Claude you have like a model that is just clearly amazing, and they have a really good implementation of projects and artifacts. So that's kind of my hot tag. Try a different LLM at least for a month, and you can come back to ChatGPT, no problem. You're not going to lose your data, I hope, and they're not going to say no to you, restarting your subscription after a month.